Emmanuel Macron, the man who can't even manage his own country and domestic policies, now wants to become the new world police. Hello, beautiful people and freedom fighters. Welcome back to the show. Let's talk about Macron, Mini Macron, the president of France, who has been causing some trouble, not just domestically. We've already covered what's going on in France, especially in Paris. The protests and riots continue every single day, but we've already discussed also that his obsession with the so-called European Defense Union or the EU army. The main reason is that the ultra-globalist elites like Macron, they have this obsession to make sure that they are always on the international stage, leading the world, even if others don't agree with them. So now he's gone to China and has had good discussions with President Xi. President Xi is now his new best friend, and he wants not only for France to benefit from this friendship, but also the European Union. At the same time, he wants to become the new world police instead of America. Now, unfortunately, we live in a world where somebody has to be the world police. The current world system and everything else we have, somebody will have to be either America or the general Western globalists or Eastern globalists. Because obviously globalism is not just the Western thing. You've got the Chinese Communist Party expanding in every continent. We've got, of course, the triangle of... and now it's becoming sort of like a square with Saudi, Iran, Russia, and China. If we could have a world where countries could just look after themselves, that would be brilliant, but that's not how it works. So, what's he done? He's going to have had a meeting with President Xi. Basically, CCP have enthusiastically endorsed Emmanuel Macron's concept of strategic autonomy, and Chinese officials constantly refer to it in their dealings with European countries. Party leaders and, of course, the theorists in Beijing are convinced that the West is in decline and China is on the ascendant, and that weakening the whole thing's weakening the transatlantic relationship will help accelerate this trend. China want to take over. They've told Macron, you could get involved. Yeah, we want to be friends with you because he's an idiot, but they're not going to want France to lead the world. China is basically invited Macron to have this conversation to get Macron and the whole world, especially the European Union, to essentially remove themselves from America. But the solution that they have is, you could probably follow us from Beijing. Really? Are you kidding me? Macron said the paradox would be that overcome with panic, we believe we are just America's followers. Which is a fair point. The question Europeans need to answer is it in our interest to accelerate the crisis on Taiwan? No. The worst thing would be to think that we Europeans must become followers on this topic and take our cue from the US. Again, I agree, but your solution will actually create a situation where we have to follow the Chinese. Do you really want to have that situation? I don't even want to follow France or the European Union. Now, if the answer to removing ourselves from the Americanism and America leading the world is to either follow the European Union or China, if that's the only option, then I'll rather keep the current system. It's not really working too well, but it's not really worse than having the European army leading the world. Anyway, this man has gone and kind of essentially schmoozed President Xi. Xi Jinping said, anyone who thought that they could influence Beijing on Taiwan was deluded. So Macron's gone on there and he basically said, well, let's just have some sort of conversation. Maybe we could come to some sort of consensus. But Macron has always failed to do negotiations. Macron has failed to be the big guy on the international stage. They can't even see you. You're too tiny. But the issue is, this is the same man who, when the conflict was starting a year ago between Ukraine and Russia, he thought he could be the negotiator. He could be the buffer, the mediator. Yeah, he went and met with Putin, and friendly discussions. And Putin said, "Yes, get out of here. We're not listening to you. You can't be the buffer. You have your own interests, not just France, but of course his obsession with expanding the European Union, especially with his new project, the European Political Community, whatever it's called, which is the EU 2.0. Then you've got the Defense Union." Then have all these nonsensical ideas, and he thinks he could be the new America. If I have a choice, then I'd rather not have any of you. But of course, the world is not working that way. And if they're saying that, well, why do we have to follow America and NATO? Well, you're not even paying your fair share. I mean, France was increasing the funding now, but Germany and the rest of the NATO members, it was President Trump who criticized all the other NATO members because he doesn't want America to lead the world in that sense. Others have to contribute. It's supposed to be a cooperation, equal partnership. But you're complaining that America is leading the world is because America is paying for everything. So it just makes no sense. Anyway, rant over. Let's take a quick break. We might come back with a live stream actually after this to have a conversation with you guys. It's been a while and talk about the latest updates. I'm Mahyar, Tousi, and we are the media.